Welcome to SPM Academy, everyone. I'm Deborah McGrath, Principal Product Marketing Engineer with ServiceNow, and it's also my great pleasure to host our SPM Academy webinars. Today, we'll be looking at our new enterprise architecture solution with brand new and enhanced capabilities, including enterprise modeling and visualization, consolidated technology portfolio management, enhanced digital integration management, and much more, all to help you better understand your organization's landscape. And to talk about this, we're joined by Mark Casto, Principal Product Success Manager, and Fred Champlain, Agile Evangelist. Fred and Mark both have deep experience over many years advising customers on how they can be successful in their implementation approaches. But let's first look at our safe harbor notice. While most of what we'll be discussing and showing you are features that are available now, this presentation may contain forward-looking statements that reflect the current beliefs of ServiceNow. And all of this is based on current information available, but your actual results may differ materially and should not be relied upon in making purchasing decisions. So Fred and Mark will begin with a discussion of 3 pillars of how our enterprise architecture solution provides value to our customers. And this will be followed by a look at the key features that enable and support those 3 pillars. We anticipate you'll have a few questions, so right after that, we'll have a quick Q&A. And then we'll wrap up, as usual, with some helpful resources and upcoming events. And now, a warm welcome to Mark and Fred.
Thanks, Deborah. Fred Champlain here.
Yeah, and Mark here. Hi, Fred. How you doing?
Hey, Mark. Good morning. Hey, let's talk about the pillars of ServiceNow's enterprise architecture and how we bring value with EA. When we think about the desired outcomes that we have for enterprise architecture and in our pathways to value, in looking at it both from a business perspective and also from an IT perspective. And there's a number of points here, but some that we'd really like to call out is really thinking about an alignment, of course, and this is a consistent theme and is always part of the challenge of from an EA perspective, is that alignment, ensuring that we have alignment and being able to support business strategy, being able to make the pivots that we need to do and to do it efficiently, reducing our waste, if you will, and also being flexible and improving our agility as well, supporting those conversations. And that really gets into one of the points here, right? Better business insights in less time, better decisions, reducing the decision the cycle time, ensuring really as EA that we're not a blocker, making sure that we're supporting the business to operate at the pace and cadence that they need to operate at. So we also are thinking, of course, all the time from a cost efficiency perspective, doing all of that with cost in mind and focus. We won't go through all of these, of course, but for some of you who may be in some of the markets where carbon footprints matter, we also are mindful of that as well from an operational perspective, from a business perspective, and have some really great support for that. If we think about from an IT perspective, we're really looking at managing our application estate, thinking about how do we rationalize, how do we uplift, how do we migrate, make sure that we're managing our technology stacks, our decisions are focusing us in the right direction. We'll look quite a bit here coming up. Mark will walk us through product functionality and certainly think about how we manage our technology overall. We want to think about how can we automate, how can we leverage workflow on the platform, and how do we support our customers and our internal customers? How do we manage and identify and manage our technical debt, right? So when we think about how do we manage our estate or our landscape from a more IT perspective, we have really strong support, lots of challenges in any organization around EA. It's complex. So we've got some pain points. So we have complexity, we have stagnation, and we really have that inflexibility, that uncertainty that we have to work with, kind of can lead to brittleness as well. So you can see here a number of pain points that we have. So when we think about multiple systems of record, that is one of the biggest challenges and one of the most expensive and fraught areas, highest risk. Also having lack of visibility and really the understanding of what are we doing, where are our dependencies, What are linkages? And then how could we eliminate surprises? And again, we are always mindful about how do we do all of this without wasting resources. From a stagnation perspective, we're really ensuring that we want to make sure that we are managing technology proactively, and then we look at the real aspects around the future state. How do we get to our future states? So when we think about our complexity, stagnation, and flexibility, cost reduction, strategic business delivery, and integrated technology landscape. So those are really the pillars that we're thinking about in terms of enterprise architecture as our offering, and also the activities that we're supporting as enterprise architecture. So just to point out, we've got our standard offering for complexity, professional offering in terms of really our thinking about how this aligns and what we're supporting in terms of these functionalities in the product set itself. So thinking about what is the outcome here when we think about our integrated technology landscapes of how we want to pull together EA comprehensively, all the way from application portfolio management, technology management itself, reference models, and really pull together our modeling and bring this together so we can get future state vision and be able to build new technology solutions that really fit and bring the business capabilities that we need to the business. So when we think about the outcomes, what are we looking at? We're really wanting to make sure that we are supporting the business processes and the detailed business processes where we need to support changes. These are typically where we get into value stream modifications, maybe new value streams, optimizing, leveraging new opportunities. If we think from a value stream perspective, we're thinking about master data management. How do we manage our data? How do we address those pain points of multiple systems of record? And those changes that we need to make sure that they are propagated, that we're not creating new conflicts. We also want to rationalize and really so reducing our complexity. Of course, we're going to advocate from a platform engineering perspective as well. We know that team topologies really matter and for a lot of organizations. This is part of their success towards transformation and improving their business agility. We think about stagnation of how do we transform? How do we continuously integrate? I'm sorry, innovate and integrate. Integration is frequently part of, as we think about federated architectures, we're reliant on those integrations more and more, APIs and underlying microservices. How do we provide the business the capabilities to really derive the insights they need from data? How do we better manage that and again improve their quality of decisions and the speed of their decisions in order to make sure that they can make good decisions when it comes to market and innovation, so competing in the marketplace. From an IT perspective, we want to continuously be thinking about how do we have reuse of our assets? How do we design our services for usability? How do we manage the APIs and the versioning and the challenge we have around data governance related to those services? And then finally, when we think about optimizing, as we think about how to scale, how do we improve our own technical agility? There's business agility, there's technical agility. And how do we improve and be mindful of resilience, right? And we think about the risk as well as part of this. And so risk management, the resiliency, the continuity, the recovery from a business perspective. And also think about from a technology perspective, how do we leverage our capabilities around automation? How do we make these decisions more available? How do we federate our enterprise architecture capabilities so we can empower those teams, those agile teams that are moving fast? We want to make sure that we're not blocking from an EA perspective. So next, Mark.
Hey, Fred. So, yeah.
Let's go take a look at how this works, right? Let's get into application portfolio management. Show us what EA can do. And give us an idea of, now that we've talked through the pillars, how do we actually make this real in the product?
Sounds good. Thank you, Fred. So we're going to start off with the foundation. Across all of those pillars and across an EA program, application portfolio management, which is kind of what our traditional offering was. EA, our enterprise architecture, was originally called application portfolio management. And that functionality is a key foundation. It's not everything EA, but it is a tool that is powerful. It's a way that we bring IT operations into the context of the business. And so it's a foundational capability. Of course, it's the application portfolio, but to manage it, what we use in EA, our key workspace, if you will, is the enterprise architecture workspace. In EA workspace home, we give you insights, portfolio review, need to do, needs attention section, and portfolio health sections. This is a highly configurable front page where you can drive the activities that you need your various users. And the users are not just enterprise architects, it's application owners, IT owners, could be stakeholders. There's a ton of content here. And the key that we want to get across here is this is configurable. You can make this part your own. So along with it, further details, dashboards. Again, we have a rich set of dashboards. We cover the application, business, information, technology portfolios, and now total cost of ownership. We have reporting around that. We have assessment reporting and the traditional application 360, which is showing you values for that indicator. One of the most powerful things that's a part of the application portfolio is the scoring and indicator framework. We can define metrics, we can roll them up into scores to help you manage that application inventory. Specifically rationalization. This is that simplification and cost reduction. Look for redundant applications or unhealthy applications. Determine what their disposition is and drive it. And then, of course, we have other facilities such as integrations, APIs. We mentioned that. Total cost reports, architectural artifacts, data certification, and audits. All of these work together to manage and enrich that application portfolio. So here's the live thing. So some of the things that we can see are some critical indications, if you will, we call them insights into things that I might need to pay attention. I can tailor these to particular groups or individuals. So what's shown here isn't necessarily just the same thing for everybody. It can be tailored. Here's in the context of business portfolio, business capabilities, the information portfolio. And then finally, technology portfolio. Here's a quick stop to managing that technical risk. We'll talk a little more about that later. Down below, I have the ability to see those portfolio cards. I can drill into, here's my apps, my capabilities, info objects, some health indicators, apps without owners, apps without capabilities. I can help me to manage that. And then, of course, the dashboards. We have various filters, and here's different dashboards that you have. By the way, for those that have your own dashboards because you've had the program running for a while or you want to build new ones, you can add a new dashboard and make it a part of the overall practice. So this is flexibility coming into it. Moving to our next is a brand new feature that we want to bring out. So this is great. We've got records in tables and we can manage them. We can do analytics. This is all very powerful. And the kind of things that we want to do is part of managing not only the application portfolio, but also higher level enterprise architecture, things like artifacts. That's where EA might have particular artifacts that have to be captured, such as security designs or or other such artifacts. But one of the biggest things that has traditionally been a part of EA is drawing that picture. So with our Xanadu release, we are introducing EA modeling. I'm going to show you how we can do this really quickly. Here I'm on a business application. I want to generate an architectural diagram. The architecture, the meta model underneath these diagrams is CSDM, which hopefully that's not surprising to anybody. I'm going to create a new artifact. So we mentioned architectural artifacts. Diagrams are saved and associated with a application or digital integration, et cetera, via the architectural artifact mechanism. So we'll create, and I'm going to give it a category. Right now, with this initial release, I have one type of diagram. We'll have many different types, capability maps, value stream. We have a large number of features planned here, templates basically to give you different kinds of visualization. Now with this one, I can pick what I want to see. I can see, of course, the application service. So this is following that CSDM path. I can get my app service. I can get the servers. I can pull in associated hardware, software. I can bring in the capabilities. I can look at this. I can bring in the demands associated with this and projects so that I can see ongoing work. I can bring in my digital interfaces, digital integration, and also I could bring in my objects. So I pick what I want to see based off what kind of diagram I'm building, say create diagram. And here we are. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can kind of see the full picture. I now have a kind of hard to see at this level, I know, but each of the icons you see here, the iconology represents what the box represents. And here are the relationships. So if we zoom in a little closer, here we see that app. Here we see it provides managed leave absence as a business capability. It's got a demand. In fact, it has several demands that are showing up. Here's the information objects. I can see a digital integration here where it is the subscriber in an integration to this system called HR self-service. I can see my application service here. And if I click on one of these, I can bring in other elements. So it gives you that kind of drill down capability from there. If I have, so I've created this diagram. The next thing I might want to do is say, okay, I'm going to add a new application service. So if I go over here to the palette, I can say, okay, I'm going to create a new app service. It's not an existing one. I'm going to create a brand new one. It's a new DR instance, and I can set up information about it. I can save this, and then what I can do is I can actually attach it. And it's going to recognize the CI relationship. Now, because I drew that thing backwards, it's not really showing up right, to be honest. What I should have done is drawn it the other way, but you get the idea. So now I've got a future state. This doesn't exist in the CMDB or in the tables. I have a way where I can sync this. I can say this is a new version. I can submit this for approval, which will lead me to being able to synchronize this. But notice one of the key things and what we heard from customers is we don't want to be able to just randomly somebody on a diagram write to the CMDB. So then we've got a approval flow that lets us control that. So this artifact will show up. here on the application, if I look at architectural artifacts, I see I've got it here. I can always come back to it and open it from there. But I can also get to the modeling features just from this area. That's a really quick overview. And as I said, now it's just a CSDM based architectural diagram, which in itself is very powerful. Key point is those squares, those boxes that we see in there with icons, those are backed by real elements in ServiceNow, in the platform, in the CMDB, in the APM tables, and it's CSDM based.
Hey, Mark, this is fantastic new capability that we have. And no doubt we'll continue to build on this. In terms of EA, how did we use EA to align to the business? So we know what our future state is. We understand, new system, new capability. Maybe we're lifting something to cloud, or we're going through and revising. Maybe we have an entirely new application that we're building out. But how do we then move into align to the business, right? I mean, what do we offer in terms of our ability to enable our customers to align their estate to the business?
Exactly, Fred. That's long been the core function of enterprise architecture, bringing IT and business together. So they're not two separate towers kind of doing their own thing and hoping they collide in the night. The EA is the liaison between IT and the business. The core way we do it is business capabilities. So we saw a little bit of that in the diagramming. Yeah, you can create the diagrams. In fact, we're going to have some really cool diagrams, what they call a tree map. It's boxes in boxes. So, and we're going to have indicators, in other words, colors indicating a problem or some sort of risk or roll-ups to the capabilities. That's all future coming in that diagramming tool, but also we have a super powerful in EA Workspace. We have a mechanism for managing your business capability hierarchy and the applications that are associated. So this, for many, many years, probably 40 or 50 years, business capability alignment to IT happens through that application inventory. The applications, the enterprise systems that we represent in application portfolio, those are those key systems that are out there. That's what IT is powering. And so we align it to our business capabilities. It's a path to up-level the incredible detail of operations in CMDB into the concept of what our company does. What that looks like in the system is here are our capabilities. Not only can we model our capabilities, we support up to 6 layers in capability. We associate our applications. Here I can quickly associate, I can create another capability and assign a business application. I can create demands, and if you have SPM, strategic portfolio management, you can actually view roadmaps in the strategic workplace portfolio workplace. This gives you a lot of power at that capability management level. Also, we support the same scoring and metrics that we do on the application. Out of the box, we have the traditional people, process, and technology. So here, I can see my app scores. I also see the scores on my capability and how it's derived. So following on from capabilities, so we've got the application portfolio, our foundation. We have visual modeling. This is our step into real enterprise architecture management tools with modeling. We have business capability, the traditional means by which we bring IT and business together in alignment and understand and manage that alignment. Next is our 4th pillar here, manage technology risk. So risk is at the core of everything. In fact, things like rationalization is great. You can save money, simplification, all of that is great stuff. That is absolutely powerful. But one of the most basic tenets and reason to do that application portfolio is be able to manage risk. What we do is we take it a step further. So not do we just only do we have that list of enterprise systems and who owns them, what they do, that kind of thing, which by the way, that's a big deal for many customers or many companies. I remember in the late 90s, those of us were old enough when Y2K was coming around. People were scrambling to figure out what's where, what do we have, who owns it, who's running it, what does it do? Just having that list has value in and of itself. We take it to the step further with two features. First, every company in the world is doing this by some means, probably spreadsheets, SharePoints, maybe other tools, but you've got to manage your technology standards. You've got to say, this is allowed in our company, this is not allowed in our company, and manage it because you can't allow just anything to be deployed within your environment. And what we're talking about is component technologies. So the business applications, they're not software, they're composition of software, hardware, services all working together. But that component technology, the hardware and software, that's what we're managing here in technology reference model. We want to establish a list and the versions, what's approved, what's not approved, when it needs to go sunset, so that you can make sure you're getting off of this. What is the next version? These are the kinds of things that we want to be able to manage in TRM. So technology standards is your first layer of proactive technology risk management. Establish it, manage it, have processes for intake of new technology. All of that works together, but traditionally EA has owned the technology standards. So that first layer of defense, then next, what have you actually deployed? Because what's intended, what was built even, doesn't necessarily match what's deployed. Things as part of the package in the OS might introduce something that has a risk or a vulnerability. Some innocuous thing that's out there running on this virtual machine in the operating system, or maybe something has slipped through the build and it wasn't captured in SBOMs or whatever. And so you've got technology that you don't necessarily know is out there, but could impact your application, therefore impact the whole company. So technology portfolio management is a mechanism by which we mine all of that rich information that is gathered by discovery, asset management, service mapping. We use those facilities to figure out what's deployed out there and show you the publisher or vendor life cycles of support life cycles. When is it going into life? Do I have a risk due to software obsolescence? Well, that's a wrap for me. And thanks, Deborah. And
Thank you.
see us and keep a follow on the SPM Academy for more on this subject.
Mark and Fred, again, appreciate you going through the 3 pillars. We have some upcoming events and resources. Our next SPM Academy webinar, What's New in Xanadu? And it's September 26th, same time. The next session of our very popular biannual SPM Vision Series, Thursday, September 19th. Scan this QR code to register for that. Great discussions and demos, customers and industry leaders, as well as ServiceNow team members, including Yoav Boaz, our general manager, and SPM product roadmap presentation from Karina Hatfield, our director of product management. And then on Thursday, September 12th, we're going to present our biannual Enterprise Architecture Vision Series, formerly APM Vision Series. Format is similar to our SPM Vision Series. And in this one, you'll hear from Doron Orbach, Senior Manager Inbound Product Management, with a roadmap plan for our new Enterprise Architecture solution. And of course, you can register for any of our live on ServiceNow events at community.servicenow.com under events, and check out our YouTube playlist. John is posting the links to everything in our chat window. And finally, some documentation. We've got brand new documentation all about our enterprise architecture solution, as well as our enterprise architecture overview. So thank you again, Mark and Fred. Thank you to my co-producer, John Lim, and much appreciation to you, our last Thursday's audience, last Thursday's SPM Academy audience, for joining us. See you on our next SPM Academy webinar in September.